All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and city. All right, this is the brother Torah Bakar from GNS Los Angeles / Inland Empire. Come back with another video in the spirit. And once again, throughout Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, for me, my eyes to his truth. Allow me to wake up another day, put the spirit on me, do another lesson, in hopes to edify the hopeful elect. Okay, so what I want to go into this video is the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, stirring up that third woe. Okay? As brothers, the star of our apostles held on down, and the brethren, we see what's going on in the earth right now, and the earth is in that war type spirit, because that's the Lord put it in the mind of these leaders of these different nations. He's putting that war in their mind, in their heart. And you over here, you got Donald Trump. He's steering. The Lord's using him to steer things up too. Because that whole attack on Iran, a lot of the European nations wasn't feeling it. And they was looking for Trump to give them an explanation of why, he sent that attack. He initiated the attack on Iran. And the main reason is because the Lord put the spirit on Trump to do that. Even though we know that these international bankers are behind all these wars, but it's still the Lord at the end of the day, because the elites aren't doing anything that's outside the control of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures, and I pray this be edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there. So the first scripture I'm going to start with is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Okay, and that destroying wind is referring to those missiles. Okay, when those missiles touch down, hit this place, it's going to create a destroying wind. When you watch those different videos, or when they test those missiles, you can see a demonstration of that. You can see that when that missile explodes, you can see that mushroom cloud form, and you can see that wind, that blast, which that's what that destroying wind is, that blast. And anything in its path is destroyed. So that's what the Lord's getting ready to do to America. Okay, He's getting ready to blast this place off the face of the earth. All right. It says, second verse, it says, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Right. And when it says fanners, it's speaking about these foreigners, okay, these sleeper cells, because you got a lot of these foreigners, they come to America, and a lot of them, they come here, because they come from a poor area, third world country or whatnot, but a lot of them also coming here to fulfill this, a lot of them are spies, agents, and different soldiers for these different nations. Okay, so there's no coincidence why you see a lot of foreigners coming to this land, and a lot of them could be here for decades, but there's all the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's purpose. Okay, this is all part of the prophecy that I'm reading right now. All right, it says, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Right, and this is referring to America. Babylon the Great. Okay, Babylon is America. Okay, so the Lord has it to where all these nations are coming to this land. Like I said, you got a lot of them coming over here to, try to make something of this themselves. But a lot of them are here too to fulfill this. To be, the Lord's using them to steer that war up against Babylon. Okay. And you see, they got a rumor out there, that allegedly that they're gonna raise the age, from as far as when it comes to the draft, being drafted to the army, they're gonna raise it from 18. I believe it was from 18 to 32. Now it's going to be from 18 to 42. Okay? So, because, they saying, not enough Americans, are signing up for service. So they're going to be, they're going to be forced to use that draft, man. And a lot of these young Jakes out here, not just Jake, but all these young people in general here in America, a lot of them are, they ain't got nothing going on, man. So a lot of these people that's in their youth, they're gonna be sent over there to the Middle East for that war, for that third world war. Okay? It says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Right, and that's talking about this American army. Okay, it said let her young men, spare ye not her young men, because it's going to be a lot of these young men out here that's going to be drafted. A lot of these young men are going to be in that war. Okay, because when you read 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, it speaks about how a lot of these different cities, these places, are going to be desolate of men. Then it's not going to be a lot of men around when this war kicks off. A lot of men are going to be put to death. Okay, so it's about to get real bad out here. And then not to mention all the plagues that the Lord is going to bring on this place. Okay, because it's all hell's going to break loose in Babylon as well. Okay, it says, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, which is his armor, which is something used for war, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts, the armies. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets, right, in Babylon. Okay, America. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of death in this land that's coming. Okay, for Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah, right, and the true Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, when it speaks of Judah, it's referring to the so-called, what you call so-called African Americans, as well as the so-called Jamaicans, West Indians, and the so-called Haitians. Okay, that's the house of Judah. That's the southern kingdom. Okay, and then you have the rest of the Latino tribes and Native American tribes, which makes up the kingdom of Israel, which is the northern kingdom. Okay, so they're saying the Lord have not forsaken us, man. Okay, because at one point in time the Lord did turn his back to us because we were constantly going off, and the Lord was upset with us. Okay, but we're in that time where now the Lord is he's showing that grace, he's showing that favor back to his people, starting with the elect. Okay, so now the Lord is raising up his men. He's raising up that small remnant, which is going to be the government in the world to come, which is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, he's setting his people back up in order. Okay, while this place is falling. All right, it says, for Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Right, like I mentioned, we went off. We were sinning against the Lord. We were being rebellious, and the Lord was angry with us. He was displeased with us, so he removed us out of that land, which is the land of Israel. That's why you got all these heathens up in there, especially Esau, Amalek. And now we're in that time where the Lord is getting ready to, he's going to cleanse that land, Israel, as well too, because they got all sorts of abominable shit going on over there in that land. So that land has to be cleansed. Okay, so everything that's happening in this earth right now, the Lord is doing it for Israel's sake. Okay, so all these things have to come to pass. Okay, that third world war has to happen. Okay, the C-Hub has to happen, which is the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast. The RFID chip. Okay, because that's what they're going to start pushing. They're already pushing it, but they're going to make it a thing where it's mandatory, where you have to have that device, you have to have that mark, okay, implanted in you, in order for you to be on the grid, so to speak. Okay, and that time is quickly approaching, man. Okay, we ain't got too much wrong in this fucking cesspool, man. We just gotta hold on and keep the faith and keep fighting, man. Hold tight to this word, brothers, as well as you two sisters. All right, it says, for Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. So we coming up out of this, you know, the mindset, you know, coming out of that Babylonian mindset, you know, thinking this is our rest, thinking this is the end all be all, okay? Being it's totally engulfed in this world. You know, we're coming out of this that way of thinking, you know, which the majority of our people, they're still caught up in that, you know. But our mindset, those of us that's of the hopeful elect, you know, our mindset is, you know, the world that's to come, the kingdom of heaven. So right now we're fleeing Babylon spiritually, okay? Because we're not fleeing this place physically. You know, the Lord Yahushua, that's his lot to fulfill, to be that deliverer. Because Yahushua has to come to deliver us. Okay, we can't deliver ourselves out of this land. Okay, so we gotta wait upon Yahushua, but we're coming out of this place spiritually, you know, by repenting, you know, turning back from, you know, the ways of this world. Okay, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, deliver every man his soul, and be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Right, so the Lord's getting ready to lay his vengeance upon this land, because all sort of evil wickedness is going on in this place. Okay, especially, you know, Esau, so-called white man, shedding our people's blood. You know, let's not forget how this land, America, was established. This land was established off of rape, rob, and murder. You know, deceit. Okay, so now the Lord is getting ready to take this place down with violence, man. You know, with great wrath, and rightfully so. Okay, rightfully so. All right, it says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right, now the nations, you know, accepting the ways of America, now they're starting to see the symptoms, okay? They're starting to feel those effects of trusting in this place, trusting in this man's way of living, his philosophies. Now they're starting to see the negative effects of that.
Yeah, the
now
repercussions.
The nations are mad, okay? Now they're starting to see this place for what it really is, man. They're starting to wake up to the bullshit.
Yeah.
Because the Lord got this place, he got these different whistleblowers, mainly the men of the Lord, exposing all the wickedness that goes on in this place, man. Okay? So that whole, you know, at one point in time, America was looked at as that beacon of light. Now it's not looked at as that beacon of light anymore. Okay? Because of all the exposure, and they're starting to see the real nature of this place. Okay? It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. Right? And there's nothing anyone can do to, you know, heal this place, man. There's nothing anyone can do to make America bounce back to the good old days, so to speak. Okay, America's glory days. Them days is over, man. That's it. The Lord gave Esau a certain time to, you know, to rule the earth and to rule by the sword. You know, to have the fatness of the earth. You know, now Esau, he's at the end of that. You know, so there's not going to be any leader, president, whoever that's going to come along and make America great again. That's bullshit. Okay, so that dude, that nigga Trump, I'm gonna call him a nigga. That nigga Trump lied to y'all, man. He lied to you,
he's a nigger.
So-called Americans. Okay,
with a D at the end.
Better. The scripture just said, you know, Babylon is not going to be healed. All right, it says back in Jeremiah 51:9, it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. See, and that's why a lot of these different, like I mentioned, you know, you got these heathens coming over here, but a lot of them heathens, the ones that's coming over here, that, you know, to try to make a better living, a lot of them are starting to see that this place ain't what it's cracked up to be. So a lot of them are going back to their own country. A lot of them are packing up and getting the hell up out of here, man. You know? So, yeah, America's glory days are over, man. Okay? And we can clearly see it, man. Just look at the economy. Look at the average American. How the average American is struggling. They pay bills. Now you got the whole situation with the gas pumps. Gas prices going up daily. And that's going to affect a lot of things. That's going to be a domino effect. That's going to affect prices in these markets, these stores. Okay, because the truckers, a lot of people don't realize a lot of these truckers are the reason why these stores and these different markets have all those goods inside them. They come from truckers. They come from the trucks. Okay, so if the truckers aren't able to keep up with the gas pump, what do you think is going to happen? That's going to affect shipments. Okay, that's going to affect the flow of product going to these different chains. These different chains, outlets, warehouses, distribution centers. Sorry, that's tongue twister for me. That's going to affect a lot of these different things. So that's going to have an effect on the prices. When you go grocery shopping or you go shopping
they just
for clothes,
simply ain't going to have it. They're still waiting on shipment.
Which is going to lead to inflation. Then you're going to have hyperinflation. Because they're at the same time they're destroying the dollar. Okay, because it's all about the mark of the beast. It's all about that chip. Because they want all these people over here to get that chip. That's what it's going to lead to. But the Lord He's going to allow Esau to have his way up to a certain point. But the point is, me doing this lesson is that we're in a time of war, so we got to be mindful of how we move out here. Be circumspect, be vigilant. And Lord willing, man, we all endure to the end. Okay, I'm gonna give one more scripture. I'm gonna wrap it up. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 21. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." So Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to shorten the days, man. Okay? Because that's how bad it's going to get. It's going to be a lot of death. It's going to be a lot of hardship. There's going to be a whole lot of judgment going on, man. And those that's predestined to make it, which is of the elect, those are going to be the ones that's going to make it through all these things. The Lord is going to deliver them. Even though you're going to have those that are martyrs, and they're going to be risen first, but the Lord is also going to deliver. A lot of the elect is going to be delivered, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, I pray this is edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there. Stay strong, keep fighting. We're almost out of here. So with that, I'm going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Hakadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in true sincerity. Shalom.
As we are all preparing, right, collectively to get the yeast out, get get rid of all of it, right, the Laven, getting rid of all yeast and all Laven, preparing for the Passover, because that begins tomorrow. So, taking a good look here, because, yeah, Trump wants to find an off-ramp while he's still playing the ground war, and a lot of them have been caught already. Okay, you check Facebook messages, and they're everywhere, man. A lot of these places, because a lot of times you're not getting the news coverage, not even on the alternative media. A lot of them don't know that, well, you have a lot of these brigades that already got caught in both the Strait of Hormuz and in Clark Island. Iran's already caught them, has arrested them as well. So, it's not going good at all. U.S. gasoline prices hit politically sensitive $4 level as Trump eyes Iran war off-ramp. Well, guess what? It's $5 a gallon over here in California. California is $5. In Redding, it is. And that's a Costco. I'm not even talking about Chevron, which that's nearly $6 a gallon there. Overnight Wall Street Journal report that President Trump told aides he is willing to wind down the U.S. military campaign against Iran even if the Strait of Hormuz remains disrupted. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It comes just as national average gasoline price hit the politically sensitive of $4 a gallon of gas threshold, underscoring the delicate balancing act the administration is facing in managing battlefield objectives and domestic fuel costs. So like everything else, when it shows you in the red that it's around $4.18, that's bullshit. California rating is $5 a gallon. You go down to Vacaville, it's going to be about $6 a gallon. And I'm talking about fucking Costco. I'm not even talking about all the other places. Okay, I'm talking about the cheapest gas available, which is Costco. It's still about $6 a gallon if you go to the bigger places. San Francisco and Los Angeles, good luck with that. That's probably about $7 a gallon. And the most expensive one, which I believe is a Chevron, it's about $8.39 a gallon there. I shit you not. That's what things are here in California. So it's even worse than that, what I read there. But nonetheless, though, Strait of Hormuz is not the only strait about to be closed. As you know, Yemen has joined the battle. The Houthis have joined the battle, as this video goes into. Here we go.
The Houthis, Ansarullah, in Yemen have finally joined the war alongside Iran and may be about to close the Bab al-Mandeb Strait to pressure both the United States and Israel. The group began escalating on March 27th and announced that it was ready to intervene militarily in the American-Israeli war on the Islamic Republic under certain conditions. These conditions include if new allies join the U.S. and Israel, or if the Red Sea is used to launch attacks on Iran. The very next day, on March 28th, the Houthis took action for the first time. They announced that they had targeted sensitive military sites in southern Israel with a barrage of ballistic missiles in support of the Islamic Republic and other resistance fronts in Lebanon, Iraq, and the Gaza Strip. Sirens sounded in the city of Beersheba and surrounding towns in southern Israel amid the attack, with the Israeli military announcing soon after that its air defenses intercepted a single ballistic missile. On March 29th, the Houthis carried out a second attack, launching a salvo of cruise missiles and drones at a number of vital and military targets in southern Israel. The attack was coordinated with Iran, which launched at least 2 ballistic missiles at the same region. The Israeli military said that one suicide drone was shot down over the Red Sea port city of Eilat, and a cruise missile was intercepted before reaching the borders of Israel. However, it managed to intercept only one of the 2 Iranian missiles. The other landed in the outskirts of Eilat, close to a fuel depot. According to Hebrew media reports, the Israeli military is now preparing a response against the Houthis, possibly in coordination with the U.S. military. The group, undeterred by these reports, appears to be ready to escalate further. Mohammed Mansour, deputy information minister in the Houthi-run government, refused to rule out the closure of the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which connects the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. This vital maritime checkpoint is a critical global shipping artery, responsible for roughly 10 to 12% of international trade and a significant portion of energy shipments between Asia and Europe. The Houthis could certainly close the strait again. The effect will be, however, far worse than before, as the Strait of Hormuz, responsible for 20% of global energy shipments, is already closed by Iran. While Israel and the U.S. could hit the Houthis, they will not be able to reopen the Bab al-Mandeb Strait without a ground operation.
So they would have to have a ground war over there as well. Volunteers of America. Volunteers of America. Oh, yeah, because remember, Trump says that he's not afraid of another Vietnam War style. You know, he's not afraid that this will be like another Vietnam. It's going to be worse than Vietnam. Okay, this is World War III. This is the end-all of Babylon the Great. Well, he's telling you that Iran wants to talk, that they've been talking, right? You know, he says one thing does another. And Iran laughs. It's like, well, you should know by now you can't trust anything that he says. U.S. seeks to pass the buck on Hormuz crisis, meaning that, okay, they could go ahead and close. They want to get out of it, okay? You know, Trump's giving you the illusion that he actually wants to back off and he wants to end the war. Iran's not going to let them do that. No, you wanted to fight, they're ready to fight. Restoring free shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, currently blockaded by Iran, is not American military objectives, according to statements by U.S. officials and media report. Instead, D.C. has indicated it expects other nations to tackle the issue. So they're abandoning it, basically. You know, oh, you want it open? Well, you're going to have to do it yourself, you know, because they wouldn't help out Babylon in their war of terror against Iran. And like everything else, analysis, because we know that it's already going bad. It's already happened. The ground war has already happened. They're just not officially saying it or declaring it. Or are they? And they're just not telling you what's happening over there. This looks like a massive trap and suicide mission. Active duty U.S. military veterans say that Trump's plan to invade Iran is being manipulated by the globalists to kill his economic recovery. What recovery? Are you fucking... Well, okay, there is a lot of bullshit that comes on this channel, right? As we know, oh, okay, it's right there. So this is it. It looks like it.
That Marine Corps Reserve General's letter. Just saying, hey, get ready, get your stuff together. It seems the Air Force more heavy than anything, which kind of leads me to the thinking that, you know, some of the damage to the airfields in the Gulf might be a lot worse. I haven't met two guys who think it's a good idea. I think that last caller was rage baiting Alex, because he's nuts. I don't know what unit he's in or what kind of outfit that is. Everybody I talk to says, what the hell, how's this going to be different than Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam? It's the same stuff all over again. Everybody knows that you're 1,000% right as usual. And you're right, as long as we got you, the movement's still strong. So
well, it's not just, it's all of you guys.
I think the devil's on both sides. I think this is the Russian second front to relieve the Russian front that is stalemated.
But you're absolutely right. Russia is 100% using this as a second front proxy war.
Well, you have said personally that Vladimir Putin laughs about all the Russians in Israel.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, he basically says, oh, I'm a friend of Israel. Russia basically runs Israel. Over a third of the people there are recent Russian immigrants.
Okay, so some of those could be trying to relieve the homeland of pressure from other folks.
That's not what the scriptures say, but okay.
They might open a second front for Russia's benefit.
This is what I think we can expect to see to happen. It's not going to be just Delta Force and the Special Forces if we're going to go in there and try to extract this uranium. And by the way, do we even really know how much stuff we're talking about extracting? Like, is it a Foot Locker or is it...
No, they have some 1,000 pounds magic number. They have no idea. I mean, as if the Iranians haven't squirreled that stuff away everywhere.
Right. And so my point is, if we're going to go in and secure a location and then go and do the extraction mission with all this stuff, we're talking about not just special forces, we're talking about nuclear, biological, chemical soldiers, we're talking about airborne. All of them have to be airborne qualified. They would have to go ahead and get the engineers to overcome obstacles. We're talking about
fiascos. Explain it to them. You're going to have to put in, per site, thousands of troops. They'll have to take out all the defensive sites around it, any bases around it. Then they got to fight the security force that's there, that's waiting. Yeah. It's going to be obviously booby trap. Then you've got to get through all these giant steel doors. Then you've got to get it. You've got to test it. Then you've got to get out with it. That is what you call putting bait out. That is a suicide mission.
So regardless of the politics of the entire situation, I generally feel everybody around here is aware, but it doesn't change the fact of us, you know, like we know what we're getting into here. We watch the news. Some of us watch InfoWars. We're not oblivious. But I'll say this, just from an Air Force perspective, when it comes to everyone's job, when you're here in the United States, you are training to do your job in a rapid environment like that. And it's kind of cool because, you know, some of my leadership and stuff who served in Iraq, served in Afghanistan, some of them are like, yeah, you know, this one's fucking different. It is, man. It's fucking different. But, you know, it's kind of hilarious because when I made my decision to come into the Air Force, I was banking on the fact Kamala wouldn't get elected and we wouldn't go to war. Now fucking look at me now, huh?
The whole uranium and the nuclear option has been a feint from the get-go. It was a feint to pull us off. We know exactly what happened. Netanyahu had intel that where jackpot was going to be, told him he was going to go, twisted Trump's arm, so now we got dragged into this. And I think it's a feint that we're going to go
drag them out.
Special Forces operations, Delta Force, SEALs, at all. And you're going to worry about drones coming in and ballistic missiles, and then we're going to be screwed. So what I really think is happening, honestly, is it's a feint, and I think Trump's going to push somewhere on the straight with our boys because he's a businessman. He knows what the oil market is looking at, how it's tanking the economy. That's keeping him up at night more than anything else. And I think he is going to go in, use the uranium as a feint, and it's going to be a move on the strait to secure the strait somehow. And
sure, so he's doing that. I thought that too. He's doing that to draw their forces away to other spots.
As if Iran doesn't know. As if they didn't know. So, you know, you get it, right? Trump threatens Iran with more destruction, but claims a peace deal is near, right? He's telling everybody, oh yeah, we're close to, they want to work a deal, but at the same time threatening to blow up more shit. U.S. President vowed to destroy all the Islamic Republic oil, wells, power plants, and key export hub on Karg Island. The U.S. has been in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable Iranian government, President Trump claimed, while threatening to obliterate Iran's critical energy infrastructure if no deal is shortly reached. So, again, you can see how full of shit he is. But he is true about one thing, though. He does want to, bring utter destruction to Iran. As you know, this is war. It's just for fun. So, like everything else, so this is going into the draft, but here's what's already happening, right? The draft is definitely, it's a thing, and it's happening, and remember, age 42 is where it cuts off, so from, 18 to 42 now, so it's a lot different than Vietnam, and it's suicide, mandatory suicide.
All right, hey, shalom, shalom, Makiam. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And we are the Hebrew Israelites, which consists of the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Samoan Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. And according to the Holy Scriptures, we're God's chosen people. Shalom to all the beloved brethren out here pushing this knowledge in sincerity and truth. Shalom to the few sisters, and shalom to Israelite foreigners who are scattered abroad. And what you're looking at is a true depiction of who the world ignorantly call Jesus Christ, whose real name in the Hebrew tongue is Yahweh Shai. Alright? And what's looking at is a true depiction of who the world ignorantly called God, who the world ignorantly called Jehovah, whose real name in the Hebrew tongue is Yahweh. And when you call upon the Most High and the Son, you must say Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushai. Yahweh means he to be, or he is. By Hashem means in the name, and Yahweh Shai means he delivers. Our Lord and Savior has come back to deliver the elect out of the nation of Israel from the destruction of the modern day Babylon, aka America. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, and Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, and the water to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai for another blessed day. The water to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai for the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and the water Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai for all you beloved brethren out here pushing this knowledge in sincerity and truth. All right, coming back at you another lesson through the Holy Spirit, and we're going to start off the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I will answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that read it. For the vision is yet for the appointed time, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. So boom, start off with that. And this is something that's circling around throughout the World Wide Web of a Rothschild, allegedly, posted up this Nathaniel C.J. Rothschild, the end is near. So you should know about the international banking families, the 13 international banking families, and the Rothschild is one of those prominent names that's been hidden for quite some time from us. But now, through the World Wide Web and various other whistleblowers, we know about these international banking families. Okay, who run the world? Who control these governments? Who control your financial structure? Everything that is going on in the earth. The scripture clearly says the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. Those are the wicked evil forces. And why would you say that? Because that's the time frame we are in. And hey man, it's truly a blessing for the Heavenly Father to give us this information, give us this opportunity in hopes of making it, because we have a clear mind about everything that's going on, because you're about to witness a lot of people lose their mother effing minds, man, because you don't know what time is going on. And for you Rothschilds and the rest of international banking families, your end is near too. Your end is near too, man, because this is the end of Esau's rulership and the beginning of Jacob that followed. So yeah, that's the time for we in, man. The end of this age. All praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, man. Okay. Also, what's going on in the Middle East, so-called Middle East, is going to continue to escalate going well, because they definitely sending more troops over there. This draft is coming. That's another aspect of this video I'm going to get into, that draft. And a lot of you Drakes, man, you're going to get swept up in there. You can say, I'm going to go to jail for 4 years, yeah, whatever. A lot of you, 2/3 of our people, you got to go, man. You got to go. You understand what I'm saying? This information has been out for quite some time throughout the World Wide Web, and you see the effects of it. So the elect, hey, brother Apostle say the elect is sealed, or they're about to be sealed up. And this whole global economy is about to get a reset under this whole digital, technocracy, this digital age leading to the MOTB. So going back to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end, get it? It shall speak and not lie. So everything is, you got the prophets out there, it's all kinds of information out here. What's really going on? Because if you don't know, you're in the modern day Babylon, you're in the modern day Egypt, and you're living in the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. You're surrounded by nothing but lies and deception. Just looking like with a man of pigmentation, so-called black man, you're in danger in this society right here, in all levels. And then trickle down to the rest of the tribes, on all levels, man. You understand what I'm saying? We are in a heavy spiritual war. So the Lord, pretty much has gathered the small remnant in the last days to gather the rest of the elect, because the end is near. All right? It says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry, and things is not tarry anymore. Things are happening. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Then with who? Esau. These elite banking families. They're not upright. They were created to be the wicked in this backward ass world, upside down world. But the just shall live by faith. And that's how we've been living. This is how we've been surviving, because you're just surviving, man. You're not really living here. You understand what I'm saying? You're moving through pure faith, a heavy inspiration from above. And the body out by Shemiah Shai, because that's a gift. And of course, we're practicing the Lord's statutes, commandments, rehearsing the righteous acts in this wicked, vile kingdom. All right? That's powerful. In this wicked, vile, satanic kingdom, the Heavenly Father have a small group, a small remnant, still holding on to the faith. Put them under that vibration, giving them that influence of faith. And look where we are today. The body held by Shemiah Shai, man. And it doesn't matter what happened, man. From here on out, Israel already won. Esau is going down regardless. Down with Esau, Edom. Going down.
And that's just it, though. We're seeing the downfall of his kingdom. This is something that we've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. He's losing on every front, and the ground war's already started. Because like everything else, so, is this for Trump's amusement? The Most High got Trump where he's at, because this is Nero. And he's like a fierce king and cruel lord. And like everything else, so he's where he needs to be. He's fulfilling the will of Yahweh Shai to take the 1/3 with them. And they're we're going to rejoice at the fall of Esau. So will the rest of the nations, for that matter. Trump says he wants to invade Iran's Karg Island to take the oil. Yeah, it's all about the oil. The U.S. president said that his preference would be to take the oil, and compared the possibility to Venezuela, where the U.S. has controlled the country's oil exports following the attack to abduct Venezuelan President Maduro. To be honest with you, my favorite thing is to take the oil in Iran. But some stupid people back in the U.S. say, why are you doing that? But they're stupid people, he told the paper. So anybody opposed to what he's done, he thinks you're stupid. Hey, we'll just see. We'll bet on it, right? We're making bets, because this war is fun. It's fun for us, definitely, on this side of it, watching people that deserve to die get killed. U.S. Marines took huge casualties at Karg Island. Big military setback for Trump is what this video is. Oh, so it already happened, right? Yeah, sometimes you can get the information, in this blockade, right? So let me get... So here it is. Troops already captured in trying to invade Karg Island.
Big setback for Donald Trump. And now he is demanding Iran to go and negotiate with him. How pathetic he looks like. In the middle of all of this, we now have a report that U.S. soldiers were captured when they were trying to land on Karg Island. We'll talk about this and all of the other developments in this video. But before I move on, not subscribe to my channel, consider subscribing.
New messaging from the White House today after President Trump threatened to obliterate Iran's oil, power, and water sites if a deal to end the war is not reached by this time next week. At the same time, though, the president is saying that the U.S. is working with a new and more reasonable regime. And just a short while ago, Press Secretary Caroline Levitt warned
I can tell
the
that he is.
could not take Iran at their word. Listen.
Anything that they say to us privately will be tested, and we will ensure that they're being held accountable to their word. When the president says more reasonable, again, these folks are appearing more reasonable behind the scenes privately in these conversations than perhaps some of the previous leaders who are now no longer on planet Earth because they lied to the United States.
As the president weighs his next move, the war's death toll is rising. Regional authorities say that thousands of people have been killed, including 13 U.S. service members. Most deaths have happened in Iran, where some 1,900 have died, including some 200 kids. Lebanon has seen more than 1,200 deaths. 124 were children.
Have you heard what Caroline Levitt just said? Iran lied. We have to take their action, not their word, for what they are trying to communicate with us. Iran is lying to you. I mean, how shameless they have to be after deceiving Iran twice and attacking them in the middle of a negotiation. And Iran is lying, and you guys are truthful, you pedos. You Zionist, you devil worshippers.
He's right.
You child rapist. That's what you do. You lie all the time.
An exceptional development by all measures. Viewers, we are bringing you initial images of what appears to be a military operation
so here it is,
a short while ago near Kharg Oil Island. An American special force attempted to carry out an airborne landing operation over one of the island's oil installations. But what happened just a few minutes later completely altered the entire course of the operation. According to field sources, units from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps had detected the aerial movements quite early and subsequently deployed themselves across the island before the attacking force could even arrive.
Okay, so this is the reports from Iran. On X, somebody posted this. Again, this is something a lot of people are saying we are not sure, but it is not getting denied by US CENTCOM. They're not making any statement about this particular video. If this is a propaganda from Iran, CENTCOM should make a statement denying all of this, that any of their soldiers were captured, but that's not what they are doing. In fact, we now have this video. Take a look.
It was a mistake. That was our fault, and we apologize for our mistake. It was a misunderstanding. We did not mean to go into Iranian territorial water.
All right, that's an older video, but I can tell that is. I remember that.
Again, then you have this video where you see the soldiers. They are now thanking Iran for treating them well after they were captured on the Kharg Island. And then you also have this one. Take a look at this one too from Tucker Carlson.
This should worry every American. A number of U.S. Marines were captured on the Iranian island of Kharg during a failed landing attempt, and the capture was carried out successfully. Unverified reports circulating on social media are alleging that multiple U.S. Marines were killed and others captured during a failed landing operation on Iran's Kharg Island, one of the country's most strategic oil hubs. According to these claims, Iran's IRGC forces intercepted the operation, detaining surviving personnel and transferring the wounded to local hospitals. However, there has been no official confirmation from U.S. or international authorities, raising serious concerns about misinformation amid already rising tensions in the region. Analysts warn that if proven true, this could mark a dangerous escalation with major geopolitical and economic consequences.
So obviously you have Tucker Carlson talking. I'm not sure if this is AI of Tucker Carlson. I cannot verify myself, but if again, these are all rumors, why CENTCOM is not confirming it or denying it? They are actually keeping it quiet.
So, like everything else, though, there's a lot of things out there that may or may not be true. We're in the time of wars and rumors of wars, and rumors about how the war is going. But nonetheless, though, it seems like it's already failing. Oil slides as Trump reportedly told aides he's willing to end war without reopening Hormuz. So he's even back away from that because, he kept on giving them deadlines to open it. Well, he's scaling back. He's scaling back a lot. Trump told his aides he's willing to end the war without reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Iran struck a fully laden Kuwaiti oil tanker in Dubai port. Iran rejects excessive illogical U.S. demands while Trump mentions progress with a more reasonable regime. Trump again threatens to destroy Iran energy sites at Kharg Island. Hundreds of U.S. Special Forces arrive in regions. So there we go. And D.C. seriously considering ground operation to seize Iran's enriched uranium stockpile, but also wants Tehran to negotiate handing it over willingly. Well, part of the deals would have been for Russia to take it, but you can see that as long as they continue to be attacked, there is no deals on the table. So, like everything else, though, this also just happened. Nearly 140 elements affiliated with the U.S. and Israeli state arrested in southwest Iran. So these are, of course, Mossad agents, agent provocateurs, that were trying to, and most likely behind what happened in December, right? Authorities of the southwestern Iranian province of Kushan have arrested 138 individuals for collaborating against U.S.-Israeli subversive schemes against the Islamic Republic. So, like everything else, though, they've already caught them. Trump threatens to blow up Iran's desalination plants. President Trump on Monday added Iran's desalination plants to the list of infrastructure he may blow up if a deal isn't reached to end the war, threatening attacks on the country's water supply, a clear war crime under international law. Great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not surely reached, it will probably be, and the Strait of Hormuz is not immediately open for business, we will conclude. I thought you just abandoned that. See, he says one thing and does another. We will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalination plants which have purposely not yet touched, Trump said. So there it is. That's big time threats. Iran armed forces will cut off the feet of any aggressor. This is coming from the top military command. You see him in the videos speaking every time he captures the U.S. or carries out operations. This is the main guy right here. Iran's highest operation command unit asserts the country's armed forces and nation have always frustrated the enemy's wrong-headed plots and will continue to do so. So like everything else, though, we can see some of their war coverage. Because press TV is pretty accurate. Been watching press TV for years. Because they actually have truth out there. So there you go. You see what Operation True Promise 4 looks like. This is when they retaliate. They're retaliatory. Iranian strike damages U.S. early warning aircraft in Saudi Arabia, raising concerns. So like everything else, so they won't be able to detect when an attack is coming. They're taking out everything. American media reports Iranian strike on military base in Saudi Arabia causes heavy damage to a U.S. early warning aircraft and injured American personnel. E-3 Sentry is one of the most important early warning and airborne command platforms in the U.S. arsenal. It acts as a flying command and control center capable of detecting and tracking air and sea targets at ranges of more than 375 kilometers and coordinated combat operations in real time. So like everything else, though, that also got damaged. But it's not a bragging point for the U.S., so they may not show it a lot in their news agencies. U.S. used nude ballistic missile and strike that killed teens in Iran sports hall. See, this is for fun. Trump loves doing this for fun. So, a lot of the two-thirds, man, they're going to help Trump have some fun. He's having fun with you two-thirds. Most High's having fun, using him to do this. Got to remember, this is still for the Most High's delight. Because you won't repent. You mock at us. You mock at Yahweh Shai's warnings. So guess what? He's mocking at you now. U.S.-made ballistic missile previously untested in combat struck a sports hall and an elementary school in southern Iran on the opening day of the U.S.-Israeli war. The school and sports hall in Lamrad featured damage consistent with a short-range ballistic missile called the Precision Strike Missile, or PRSM, which is designated to detonate just above its target and blast small tungsten pellets outward. You know, so like everything else, though, they love to brag about it, you know. Because it's fun. It was fun to strike a school. It's fun to kill civilians. It's fun to kill Iranians, right? Killing Iranians. This is what Esau's enjoying right now. With Amalek. Why ground invasion scenario against Iran could turn into strategic quagmire for U.S. Oh, and the Israeli state, they're not going to put any boots in the ground on this operation. The U.S. has to spill the blood for the Israeli state. The Israeli state's not going to do it. Nope, not going to do it, you know. So, yeah, they're not even going to do it. They're going to have the U.S. fight for them. Fight for the Israeli state. Fight for Amalek, the least of the flock. Speculation is rife about a possible ground invasion of Iran by the U.S. terrorists. However, experts acknowledge, contrary to DC's illusions and misguided predictions, the scenario cannot replicate the patterns of the 2003 invasion of Iraq. And you already heard what they said on Alex Jones, is that, this is nowhere fucking even near Iraq. According to a report published by Martin News Agency, Iranian guerrilla units comprising the 65th Airborne Special Forces Brigade of the Army and the Sabran Special Forces Brigade of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps ground force are planning swift and surprise operations against hostile forces. These operations are said to aim at delivering hard, swift, and painful blow to American terrorists and interest in the region. The report also mentions scenarios such as the abduction of American military personnel, officials, and even businessmen modeled on incidents from the 1980s with potential geographical scope ranging from Iraq's Kurdistan region to Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and Kuwait. So like everything else, so they're going to get everybody responsible. So we'll play a little bit of this. But I believe this is the video that they're talking about anyway.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم و اعدوا لهم ما استطعتم من قوة. چند روز پیش شنیده شد ترامپ در اظهار نظراتش پیشنهاد حمله زمینی داده. ما سالیان سال منتظر یه همچین روزی هستیم و آمادگی 100% داریم. بیایید از جعبه مهمات‌های خودمون تابوت‌هایی درست کردیم که شما را در همین خاک دفن خواهیم کرد تا درس عبرتی شود برای کسی که قصد تعدی و دستاوردی به خاک ایران بگذارد.
تجسم آیات الهی قرآن هستی، تجسم منطق جهاد الهی قرآن برای سعادت مسلمانان هستی.
Yep, they're ready for war. You can tell that.
شما به تعبیر امام علی علیه السلام رژ مستحکم امنیت ملت هستی.
So you can see what jihad looks like in real time. Which means a vengeance. That's what jihad means. So there you have it, though. That's what the U.S. military is going to be fighting against. It's a little bit past don't ask, don't tell, but nonetheless, one more here from, I believe, what was his name? Full Spectrum, and I'll play that in short, but pretty much, though, you can see, though, that, they finally got an enemy that they cannot defeat, This is not like any other enemy. So, well, pretty much so, as you could say, bit off more than they could chew. So, we already know what the Valley of Jehoshaphat is. We know what the map looks like, but like everything else, so, here it is. Joel chapter 3 verse 9, it reads, proclaim this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I am strong. Again, that's definitely talking about Persia in particularly. That they are strong, as you can tell. Those are experienced soldiers, ready to fight. What's supposed to be the hammer of the whole earth, right? Babylon the Great. They're ready to fight Babylon the Great. Take it on by themselves. Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. They're the cause of the mighty ones to come down. Let the heathen be wakened, come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. So they're all going to be fighting over this. The Third World War is based upon this region, and here it is, put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe, come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. So it's time, it's harvesting season. As we're about to get into the, which, Adawan Ratazah, this is the last Passover before the return of Yahweh Shai. This thing's about to be a wrap very soon. As we take out the yeast and the leavening, getting it out of our house, and enter into the Passover. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes of the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai is near in the valley of decision. So, like everything else, though, we've been saying it for a while, that this war could break out as we go into the Passover. It's not a rumor anymore. We're going into the Passover, and this war is already ended in the first month, man. We're going into the second month during the Passover. So like everything else, though, this will eventually go nuclear, which is the judgment for receiving the implantable MOTB, which is an implant you should receive. That is, that if you worship the beast in its image, you shall receive his implant in you. It'll be in you. They want to implant you with a device to where you will not be able to buy or sell save he that has it. And the judgment coming to you is nuclear destruction. And at the rise of the angels of the Most High via them chariots shall also rain fire upon you. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Most High shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens of the earth shall shake. But the Lord Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Yasharallah. And that's talking about the first fruits. Because the children of Yasharallah of Israel shall come from those first fruits. 2/3 are going to die on this side. But like everything else, though, they will not have their part in the first, resurrection, right? But, Adawan Ratazah, we're in that number of being in that first resurrection. So, like everything else, though, the new kingdom to come is about to happen as we're seeing the end of Esau Edom. So hopefully this has been edifying. Got one more here before we close this out. 50,000 troops deployed. New attacks planned. The worst week is coming. U.S. Army ready. So like everything else, though, their destination is set. They're going full throttle with this while pretending to be brokering some sort of peace deal to even allow the Strait of Hormuz to remain closed. Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rekakadash, Wa Abba Babal. Brakatam, Jehovah elect, Shalom.
In one of the most concerning turns of events, we have seen the late weekend bring troops to the Middle East and lots of military activity, including missile strikes on Iranian infrastructure and against Israel from Iran. We have sleeper groups that are operating in multiple countries, attacks reportedly inside of China. This is probably going to lead up to one of the worst weeks in this war so far. Folks, you're watching Full Spectrum Survival on YouTube. We have so much to cover in this broadcast. I want to just go ahead and dive right deep into it, including this double attack that was reported from Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen against Israel. Now you can tell from the missile types that are being deployed that this is no longer an integrated war. It's no longer the initial stages of this conflict. You see people running for shelter into the missile shelters there. If you don't have a bunker option ready, you're behind the curve. Now that doesn't mean that you don't have options. It means that you need to look for structures around your area that are capable of withstanding better against ballistics and against larger attacks. And I'm talking about American citizens here. You and I need to be considering this. Just because our politicians refuse to warn us that the United States of America's soil is going to be attacked does not mean that we have to be ignorant by default. Know what structures nearby you can go to if you hear the buzzing of drones. That's one of the largest things that I think we will see in this coming war is drone attacks here on American soil. They will probably be much smaller than what we see in other countries because they just don't have the infrastructure to build $30,000 drones here, but we will see shipments of them. And what's even more scary is that the FBI and the CIA are behind the curve looking for cargo containers, cargo shipment containers of drones that have already made it onto American soil.
That's what they tell you, but like everything else, they're going to lock down everything in the guise of all that. You know, that, oh, there's going to be an attack. They're going to lock everything down. It's going to be a lockdown for your safety. And that's where they're going to come in and usher in the MOTB. So hopefully this has been edifying. Shalom.